them apart, but now they're together. They're two wacky gringos in all kinds of weather. When it's sunny, they're funny. When it's rainy, they're zany. They're two gringos who sometimes do bits. Hi, everybody. Hey, good Monday to you, or Tuesday, or whenever it is you're watching this. I'm Patrick.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Mike, and we are Two Bit Gringos here again for your entertainment.
Two Bit Gringos. How's your week been going, Mr. Michael?
Let's see. I know you're in California, and here in Boquete, it's been crazy because there was news that we were going back to the old quarantine rules and protocols of 2 hours per day and separated by sex. Turned out that wasn't the case. It was some kind of mistake. So now we're back to what it was, except for the weekends. I think weekends we have to stay quarantined.
Wow.
We're in the middle of the rainy season, and we have a real tropical rainstorm coming down right now. So if you see the lights go out and you lose me, you're gonna know why.
I understand. We'll know. Well,
how about you, Patrick? How was your week in sunny California?
Sunny California. Well, it's hot. We're having another heat wave. It's going to be in the 90s and the 100s all week. So good thing there's a pool behind me. It's been okay. I've been doing a little handyman work for some of my friends, and that's nice.
Cool.
And just, overall things aren't terrible, horrible. They're just a little,
When you do the handyman work, I'm assuming you have a different shirt on. You're like,
oh no,
you have work shirts, or are all your shirts like Hawaiian?
Well, this shirt I wore special for today's guest because I don't know if you noticed it. You got jazz here,
Yes.
And right here. Wait, let me tilt the camera. Martinis, right there.
Your trademark.
Jazz and martinis, they go together, don't they? Just perfect.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to?
It's either jazz and martinis or jazz and heroin. I think go together just as well for the musician. Just kidding. That's a joke.
Yeah, and I try not to do heroin when I'm having a martini. They don't mix that good.
No, but when you're listening to jazz,
Oh wow, yeah, it's great.
You may want to rethink that. It's just an attempt at humor, folks. Don't send in the letters.
We attempt humor quite frequently.
We attempt.
Michael, would you like to tell our adoring public about our next guest coming on here in a second?
Our guest is the big boss, the Jefe, the director of the wonderful organization in Boquete and soon to be in the rest of Panama, Mr. John Wolff, the head of the Blues and Jazz Festival, and let's welcome him here. Mr.
There he is. Hi, John.
Everybody.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having me aboard here.
Oh, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's great. A lot of people want to know what's up, what's going on. But before we get to that, John, why are you in Panama, basically? And you spent a good amount of your life there, I believe.
Well, I'm what's called a Pana Gringo. My mother's Panamanian, my father's a Gringo. They met. My father was a fighter pilot here in the Second World War. They met here and got married, and that's what happened. That's how I came here. So my whole life was in and out of Panama. We did move. My mother was Consul General of Panama in Miami. My father went to work for a pilot. He was also in the music business. So we were the family in and out of Panama constantly.
Okay.
Life.
All right.
And then, of course,
so you followed two things of your dad's. Weren't you a pilot as well?
Yes, I was.
And you are the director of the Blues and Jazz Festival.
Yes, but that was an accident. Talk about that.
That was an accident.
At least that was an accident, and not the pilot was an accident. That's a better.
No, the getting involved with the Boquete Jazz and Blues Festival, I had no intention of doing that. But when Hans first started in 2012, I had done some other things in Panama City. We brought John Coleman down, John Mooney down. I've done a number of events in Panama City. And a guy by the name of Tony Howitt introduced me to Hans, and Hans asked me if I wanted to get involved. And actually at that time, with the little barely success that we had with the other two done, and then I was thinking Boquete, which was all hell and gone. It was, we were doing in Panama City, we should be able to draw a lot more people. I thought he was crazy. I thought Hans was nuts. And I told him, okay, I'll come. Okay, I'm going to come to the festival, but I'm not going to, I don't want to really participate. So I went to the 2012 festival, and it was magic. I mean, it was absolutely, there was something about that whole thing that was just amazing. It was fabulous. And I ended up helping Hans out during the festival a little bit. I think I played some music in between acts and whatnot. And the next year, 2013, I volunteered as a photographer, if I'm not mistaken. I think I was working with, as a photographer with Mike Moore. Was that the guy that was shooting pictures back then?
I don't know. It's a little before
You're
my
here
time.
before I am, so I don't know.
Yeah, and then 2014, Bob Applegate took it over with Steve Bliss, and I didn't really do anything in 2014.
Wow.
And then Steve quit. And I had Hans up here at my house. We had as a matter of fact, we had, who did we have up here? We had Andy Agard and Hans and a whole bunch of other people. It was just after the festival. And we got Barbara. We got Barbara to agree to let Hans and I do the festival in 2015. So we did. We went through the whole exercise in 2015. Hans retired again in 2016. It became mine. It was never my intention. Steve Bliss was supposed to take it over in 2016. And then Steve in August, Steve dropped out. And so I picked it up. And that's it. That's how we got involved.
Well, I got to say, James Brown notwithstanding, John, you are the hardest working man in show business when it comes to the Jazz Festival. I mean, you do so much. It's an incredible, I've seen some of the paperwork and some of the stuff that you do, and it's an incredible amount of work to put this together.
Well, one of the things that I'd like to say about that is a lot of people tell me this, but if you look, a few years ago when we were going to have the volunteer party, and of course, you have to get up and you got to say a few words about the volunteers. And in my mind, I was thinking, yeah, there's about 6 or 8 key people involved with this. So I'm going to have to go through and identify the 6 or 8 key people. There are 24 people, 24 key people.
Wow.
And every one of those people have a big chunk of this festival, and every single one of them manages it and runs it almost completely autonomously. I'm just the orchestra leader.
Wow.
I write the checks and pay the bills and try to keep everybody in tune.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that make this thing work. And you're involved. You see how I deal with the photographers.
Oh, absolutely.
This is what we need. Go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put a crew together. I mean, I've seen all kinds of crews, Hollywood movie crews. I've seen event crews. And you guys, you just work like a well-oiled machine. You guys really
Well,
do.
you do. And I have to say also as a volunteer myself, I've seen you in action, John, on more than one occasion. And at one time I was a band host, and we had a problem, a simple problem, but a serious problem with a hotel room, and where the room was not ready and the room was not available, and we didn't know what to do. So who do we call? We call you, and you are there like in a second. You're taking care of the problem. You're talking to people. You're on the phone. You're solving problems. So yeah, a lot of kudos to you for putting this whole thing together.
Well, thank you. And it's been actually wonderful for me. I don't know, when you retire, you have to have a sense of purpose. You have to have something to do.
Absolutely.
And I don't play.
So why not
fish.
put together a music festival?
Yeah, and it's just very rewarding. It's just really, really wonderful. We have such a great time, and I've met so many wonderful people, and getting to make so many friends and so many friends in the music industry, and it's great. It's been great.
So why don't we just tell people who may not be familiar with the festival what it's about? I mean, I can say that you bring some of the best blues and jazz artists from all over the world to Boquete. Depending on the location, sometimes it's at a very, very nice and comfortable amphitheater here in Boquete. You have all the services. You have like a food court. You have everything ready. You have shows all lined up during the day. It's just amazing. And I have had a job as a band host, which I love, you know, taking the artists around, making sure they're there on time. And, you know, whatever you want to add, you've had, I mean, I am a musician myself, and you have had some of the best, the top blues artists. I'm more familiar with blues than jazz, but I know you have, you know, some of the top jazz artists as well. But some of the biggest names in blues here in this little town in Panama, which totally floored me when I first came here. It's amazing.
Well, there's a story behind that. When I first got involved with Hans in 2013, one of my best friends from forever was the president of the National Blues Foundation in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh.
Came down in 2013 to Boquete and invited me to go to the Blues Music Awards in Memphis and the Hall of Fame Awards in Memphis. So I went, and at those days, we were really having a hard time getting anybody to come. I mean, nobody knew anything about Boquete. The musicians and the agents are very reluctant to send anybody to some place. It's a new festival. It's like very difficult to get them to come. They're talking about visas and work permits and flights, and everybody's. So I went to the Blues Music Awards, and I sitting at the head table with Jay Seelman is the guy's name, Jay Seelman and Priscilla, his wife. And sitting next to me is this lovely lady who happens to enjoy 1800 tequila. And so we're drinking tequila, and I'm telling her about Boquete. And in the meantime, they're giving out the Blues Music Awards, and she's sitting there next to me, and we're talking, and she's, you know, I'm excited about Boquete. I'm having a wonderful time. And Shakura Shaki, I just finished getting her Blues Music Award, and she comes walking down. Right, she has to walk right in front of our table, and this lady that I'm sitting with turns around and says, "Shakura, next year you're going to Boquete." And Shakura looks over and says, "Yes, Mom." And so I'm sitting there.
Wow.
Shakura, you know, just selling to Shakura's mom. And then
that's great.
So she brought her band down, which included Lance Anderson, and then Hans got a hold of Deanna Bogart and brought Deanna down, and then I negotiated with Intrepid Artists and got Little Ed. So those were the three mainstays. And in those days, we were still having a problem. I don't know if anybody remembers the 11-hour bus ride from Panama City to Boquete.
Oh, my.
Yeah, because they were working the construction of the roads, and it just turned into a fiasco. And we had Deanna on the bus, and oh God, there's great stories. We're gonna do. I was thinking about doing a little show where, you know, we get Deanna and we start talking about the bloopers and things that happened at the festival.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a fantastic idea.
You know, because that story with Deanna is a blast. But in any rate, we ended up getting a reputation. And as we started the next year in 2014, it was Bob Applegate with Steve Bliss. And then in 2015, when Hans and I took it over, we had no problem. By the time we got to 2015, we had people coming. We ended up with Tommy Castro and Curtis Salgado. And we had just this wonderful group put together. By the time we got to 2016, they were writing us. And that's the way it's been from then on. We've just had, because look at this magic. I mean, the musicians love it. It's a musicians festival.
Yeah, the place is magic. The music is amazing. I mean, the theater itself, you know, I mean, I've been to shows, the Hollywood Bowl, Red Rocks Amphitheater in Denver, I mean, the Greek Theater. And I got to say, those places are amazing, but they got nothing over Boquete in terms of the theater, in terms of the town, the ambience, the whole like you said,
Yeah,
John.
the people in the town, everywhere that you go, the people in the town, all of the people are warm and welcoming, and it's just that, you know, there's a million restaurants and there's great bars and great places to hang out, and a very, very warm, cordial group of people.
I know you know this, John, but I have to tell you and everybody that the artists also love playing here. They love being here. I don't want to, maybe you want to mention who's behind it, but the green room that you set up is fantastic. They love it. The food is excellent.
We have the best green room in the business. Everybody tells us we've had the best, and I've been to a few festivals since where I've been, because of this festival, I've been invited backstage in the green room and whatnot. There's nobody compares with our green room.
Yeah, we got it going on down there.
And the artists, the performers feel the love. Let me tell you, they love it. They love coming back, and it's a great thing. You're doing good things. The first things that we do, and I think you guys have been involved in this, one of the first things that we do when everybody gets here before the festival is we have a musician's dinner, where we get all the musicians into one room at one time, and we feed them and we give them wine and we get them all talking to each other, and we don't discourage. I don't insist that people come down with a set playlist and that they have to perform these songs. I let them do whatever they want. So it almost, their performances on stage almost becomes a jam. They can invite other musicians from that they've met and that they know on stage. You'll see that all the time. You'll see a musician sitting in on their main performances. Well, you also have jams at night, which are incredible. And I would say sometimes you see more incredible performances because they do mix, members of different bands together, and they just go crazy playing music. It's amazing.
We actually got calling it a musicians festival, because it's a place where the musicians get to come down and just have a great time. Yeah. And one of the groups that was probably, I'm not going to say standoffish, but one of the groups that's the most formal groups is Spiral Gyra. This is a long-term jazz group.
Right.
And everybody from Spiral Gyra gets sucked in and goes up on stage, and sometimes you can't get them off.
I know. They're amazing. I mean, you talk about, we were saying world-class talent, Spiral Gyra, Scott Ambush and the crew. I've been, fans of theirs for, 40 years. And also, one year you had the Lowrider Band, which we all know.
Lee Oscar.
Yeah, Lee Oscar. I got to tell you, one of the acts that just completely blew my mind was Dwayne Dupsy. Dwayne Dupsy, I can't, he does things with an accordion I couldn't believe could be done. A little background
story on that. When in 2015, I wanted to bring Dwayne Dupsy or a Zydeco band down. And the whole board of directors was like, no, it's jazz and blues, and this doesn't work. And then 2016, it was, I didn't bring him in 2016. I brought him in 2017, I think. And finally, I just said, I'm bringing him. We're voting, and I'm voting. We're bringing him. So we brought him, and he's been a hit. And then what we did with him and Osvaldo Ayala, where they got up on stage and had the accordion play off.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean,
it was amazing.
Kids, boys and girls, if you want true talent, true entertainment, you got to come to Boquete. And speaking of that, what is the future given the pandemic and the world situation now? What can you tell us? Anything?
Well, when all of this started in March, I was sure we were going to be doing a festival in July or August.
Yeah.
It was just, I just couldn't imagine that we wouldn't be doing the festival by July or August.
Right.
And beat down enough, and I feel like Copa Airlines, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to open the next month, and yeah, we're going to open next month. I just can't see into the future. I cannot predict what's going to happen. What is it going to look like? How are we going to open? When are they going to allow large crowds of over 50 people? How long are we going to do this mass business?
When are they going to allow me back into Panama?
When are they going to open flights for tourism? And then when you do, who's going to be willing to travel?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, on that note, I'll go back a little bit and talk about that. I am constantly in touch with musicians, and I am constantly in touch with other festival organizers. Legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise has canceled their October cruise, and they've canceled the January cruise, which means that they won't be doing anything until late 2021.
Wow.
In the meantime, those bands, all of the festivals that have been canceled, these musicians are hurting.
Seriously.
They make their money by touring and playing live, and they're not playing live. There is no place for them to play. So they're constantly hitting me like, when can we do this? And people writing me and saying, listen, we're really reluctant to do something like on a blues cruise because we don't want to get on a boat for 7 days and not know what will happen. We want to do a land cruise, basically a land festival, and they're willing to come to Panama. Okay. So we have an opportunity to do that. I don't believe that the first time we do the festival, and I'm willing to do it very quickly, as soon, I think I can do a festival in 4 months once they've given us the green light.
Okay.
We got the artists, we've already got the airline tickets. So all we need to do is announce it and give everybody enough time to get organized to come down. So I'm figuring about 4 months.
Okay.
When, then it depends on the venue. What's going on in Valle Escondido? Is the amphitheater available?
See?
What's going on with the fairgrounds? Is the fairgrounds available? Where do we go? What do we do? How are we going to do it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
right. Right.
Well, those are all good questions. I mean, we don't have any answers to any of this stuff right at this point. But I got to say, of course, my biggest disappointment was I had my gear packed and ready to head to the Beaches Festival. I was going to photograph some. And again, I mean, I think you had Los Lobos and Spin Doctors. I mean, some amazing.
Tommy Manuel, Los Lobos, the Phantom Blues Band, the Spin Doctors, Spyro Gyra, Deanna. I mean, we had 35 groups coming. Out of the 35 groups, we had 19 Grammy Award winners, including.
Wow.
We had it was just an incredible all-star lineup with 3 stages. There are 5 hotels involved with 2,000 hotel rooms, and they were all booked. They were booked.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
It was on Monday, the 9th of March. We had a big press conference in Panama City at the Bristol Hotel. Sitting on the board of the press conference was the president of the Banco Nacional de Panama, the Minister of Tourism, the Minister of Pro Tour, the president of Verde Azul. Verde Azul owns Buenaventura, the Wyndham. There are like 7 hotels that they own in that chain. We had all the newspapers, and everybody was covering it. It was so exciting. We left. The board went to go get something to eat, so we went to eat. When we walked out of eating, we got the phone call that it was the first case of Panama. The March 9th virus had been identified in Panama City.
Wow.
By Thursday, they canceled it, all group gatherings.
Yeah, it happened so fast, man. It was like a wildfire. Just boom.
But I can say that all of those artists that we've mentioned and more, they're all willing to come down. They all have their deposits. We have the airline going to work with us.
All right.
Copa's being a little difficult, but they're going to work with us until December of 2021, which means all the airline tickets, because they were all bought. We were 11 days from the festival. We had all the airline tickets. Visas were. They're going to keep those for us, and I don't know that we're going to do that big of an event, but we'll do smaller events, do several smaller events. And those people that are holding tickets to the festival, we will work it out for you. We've got, you're going to be able to use your tickets for the other events. If you're unable to attend, we're going to allow you to put up on our Facebook page, our Facebook group, your tickets for sale if you want to sell them.
Cool.
We'll help you try to get rid of your tickets, and we're going to try to pull this thing back together. I think it's going to take us. It'll take us 3 years.
Okay.
I think it'll take us 3 years to get back to where we were.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that seems like a reasonable estimate given the situation and all. But it is going to happen. We are going to have the Boquete Jazz and Blues Festival, and we are going to have the Beaches Jazz and Blues Festival.
We are.
I'm pretty sure at some point. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be photographing every bit of it. You know what? You might, depending on the situation, you might print up a bunch of masks with your logo, your blues man on it, you know? That'd be
I'll tell you, I would hate to see people wearing masks at the festival.
I know.
I want us to
I'm
be.
always thinking about merchandising, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, you know, people were talking about a vaccine, but I actually believe that we're going to get to a point where somebody's going to find a really good way to treat this virus. And in the process of, in the process of treating it, it's going to be less lethal. We're going to require less time in the hospital, and we need to reach herd immunity. I mean,
Right.
You
I
know,
think you probably are correct in, not rushing into these things. Yeah, we can't, nobody can, but your estimate is probably, closer than anybody I've heard, because now people are saying, oh, maybe in January we'll do this, or, who knows? Nobody knows what's going to happen.
I'm hoping I can get back into the country by January, honestly. Our goal is
everything is delayed, and the numbers are not looking good. And they were what I said in the beginning, John, when you were in the waiting room, is that here, I don't know about Panama City, but here in Boquete, they were talking about going back to the protocols they had before, of the 2 hours per day, and that ended up being a mistake. That was some kind of mistake that was published, and that's not happening, but it could. I mean, that's the thing everybody has to realize, is that we have to.
What they're doing is they're really trying to make sure that they have enough hospital beds to treat everybody. I mean, there is there's no, if you think that by wearing a mask and social distancing, the virus is going to away, it's not. What they're doing with this, the process that we're going through is trying to not collapse the healthcare industry here.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. Not here in Panama as much as the States, where they really seem to be on the brink of being overwhelmed, and certainly those states that are just going crazy with the virus.
Where I am is definitely they're getting overwhelmed. I mean, we've got 500,000 cases. We've got almost 5 times the amount of deaths that the country of Panama has had. Now they're going to be bringing in Air Force personnel to supplement the hospital staffs, Air Force, Air National Guard, something to that effect. So yeah, it's a serious deal, and nobody should be making predictions about, oh, this is going to go away, or we'll have a vaccine in a couple of weeks. Nah, we're in for the long haul. Patience and perseverance, my friends.
Yeah, and sadly, I mean, it's difficult, and I have seen so many people, really suffering. I mean, those people are home, and you've been locked down. I was going through a really hard time myself personally. I was in this place. I'm in a beautiful place. Yeah. It's a wonderful place. It's me and a cat and a dog. Yeah. And 4 months later, it's me and a cat and a dog. And how many times can you walk around and bounce off the walls?
So tell everybody why you were suffering, John.
Yeah.
Aurora was gone. And that's another part of the crazy story. I mean, I talked about March 9th, March 10th. We wake up in the morning and she gets an email that her father is in hospital. Is sick.
Oh.
We get her out on an airplane on the 11th to go to Europe. She arrives in Paris on March 12th, and her father had died.
Oh, wow.
And then she had to stay. She got into Slovenia, and she had to stay in Slovenia to take care of the probate and all those things that happen when the parent dies. And she got stuck over there when the airports in Panama closed on March 22nd. So then we couldn't get her back.
Wow. So sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, no, there's so many, and this is a story, but everybody has a story. There's so many people that are going through the same kind of thing. There's so many people that are suffering.
Yeah.
Where I wanted to go with this story is, while we're sitting here and complaining about it, I know people that live in 30 square meters and there's 8 people in the house, and there's no air conditioning, and there's no, they don't have any money and they don't have any food. And
Very true.
Wow, that's intense.
so that,
Very true.
there's a lot of pressure on the government of Panama not to extend this any further than they have to. But if they're holding it down, it's because they got to.
Well, that's the catch-22 is that whatever you do, you're in the wrong, because if you want to rush back so people have jobs or things, the virus might increase, the rate of infection might increase. If you don't, people are suffering, as you said. I feel so badly for restaurant owners, business owners, everybody that really needs it. I mean, if you're retired and you have some source of income, you're weathering this storm. You're in a better position than so many.
Yeah.
But if you're not, I feel very badly for all these.
A lot of us are lucky. I'm lucky. I'm fortunate to be where I am, even though I'm not in Panama. I wish I were, but I'm fortunate to be where I am. That's the timer. We're running out of time, but we got a couple more minutes. We are fortunate, and I got to say, the leaders, they're people. They make mistakes. They do the right thing sometimes. They do the wrong thing sometimes. Our governor here opened up, did a soft opening. Restaurants, things like that. 2 weeks later, the cases spiked like crazy. I mean, just off the hook here. So then they go back to closing down, and nobody's happy.
That's the problem.
Nobody's ever done this before.
Yeah,
that's right. You're absolutely right.
It's really easy to sit on the sidelines and criticize, but when you're
we're all armchair quarterbacks.
There's no handbook for a pandemic of this
there's
nature.
not.
But anyway, the happy ending is that the happy ending is that sometime in the future we are going to have music again, blues and jazz. There is going to be a festival. You're going to bring it back, and
absolutely.
That's a happy thing.
The deposits are all out on these bands, so we're not going to lose those deposits. They're all willing to work with us. I'm sure I'm going to be able to work something out with Copa. What exactly those festivals are going to look like, I don't know. We don't know.
You know that you have a whole cadre of volunteers behind you,
every one of us
willing to help
volunteers
you
are
out
gonna be there.
and make thing happen. And we love it, especially being here in Boquete, but it's at the beaches too. A lot of people are supporting the festival, and I want to thank you for joining us today and explaining what's going on with the festival. Mr. John Wolfe, everybody.
John Wolfe, thank you, John. It's been
Thank you very much, boys. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's been fabulous. All right, listen, you have a great week, and give hugs to your lady for us, and we will see you in person very soon.